Hi friends, today we're going to go over our new vocabulary with our weekly story, Luke Goes to Bat, okay? So our first vocabulary word is practice. If you practice hitting the baseball every day, your hitting will get better. So our motion for practice is going to go along with our story with baseball. And you're going to pretend you're trying to hit a ball once, miss it, twice, miss it, third time, you hit it, yay! So if we practiced, we did it over and over again, we got better, right? So practice. Oh, oh, yay! So we got it after we practiced. The next word is hurried. The soccer player hurried to stop the ball. He moved fast. Our motion for hurried is going to be similar to our rules for the first one, following directions quickly, where we are like running in place really fast. So if you hurry, you're moving fast. So ready? Hurried. Good job. Our next vocabulary word is position. The batter is in position to hit the baseball. So if you're in position, you're in a specific stance. And to go along with our baseball, you're kind of going to get down in a catcher's stance where you kind of spread your legs and it's like you're holding a mitt and you're in position. Okay? So that's your position. Okay. Next word is roared. The crowd roared loudly as the player caught the ball. If you're roaring, you're making loud noise, kind of like screaming, right? Sort of like, wow, roared. Okay, so let's take a second to practice the motions for those four so far. So we have practice, we hit up, um, um, yay, got that first one. Hurried, right, moving fast. Position, get down like a catcher. And roared. Very good job. Okay, so our next word is extra. The extra players for the football team sat on the bench. So for extra, our motion, it's going to be like you're holding a basket of something and you're handing things out, and you're going to have some left over because you're going to have more than you need. So you're going to say more than enough because extra is more than you need, right? More than enough. So for extra, more than enough, right? Because you had extra. Our next word is curb. After skating, the girl rested on the curb outside her house. So a curb is like that little up piece on the side of the road. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to say road, curb, road, curb. How it goes up like that. All right, your next vocabulary word is cheered. The audience clapped and cheered as the players scored a goal. So cheered, it's similar to roared, but we're going to go more of like clapping and being like, yay, because you're cheering specifically at that. Right? So roared is just that loud noise, and cheering is that specific in response to something. You're a fan. So, yay. All right, our last new vocabulary word is final. When the game ended, the final score was 4-2, and final means it's done. So that's what we're going to say. We're going to say final, it's done, it's over, right? Because when it's the final, there's nothing after that. Final, it's done. Okay, so let's practice those four, and then we'll practice the other four. So you have extra, more than enough. You have curb, road, curb. You have cheered, clapping and saying go. We'll add that, go. And then final, done, it's over. Okay, reviewing again the first couple. Practice, um, um, yay! So we got that after practicing. Hurried, position, so you get down like a catcher. And roared, so this is like loud noise, like okay, awesome. So let's talk specifically about those definitions, right? So extra means more of something. Practice means to do an activity often to become better at it. So you can practice sports, you can practice singing, you can practice musical instruments, practice your reading skills, practice math facts. Anything that you're doing often to become better at it is practice. Position is the place where something or someone is supposed to be, so like how the catcher is supposed to be in that position behind the mat. And hurried is you did something quickly. Cheered is you're shouting to show happiness. Roared is you shouted in a powerful voice. So you see how those are similar, but cheering is like you're happy. It's like your favorite team scored a touchdown, or you did something really good on a game you like, or things like that. And roared is just that same kind of shouting, but in a powerful voice. It's loud. It's all about volume. Final is last, right? Done. And curb is the edge of the road. Curb. All right, so now it's time to work on our vocabulary triggers. So grab a piece of paper, and it's time to work on those triggers. So remember, anytime we do this, you're going to fold your paper horizontally, also known as hamburger style. Okay? And do that twice, that same motion twice, because this gives you 4 squares on each side for each of the vocabulary words. So we have 1 for every vocabulary word. All right, so for our first vocabulary word, practice, we're going to do an acrostic. So we're going to have P, R, A, C, T, I, C, E. So big long word for our acrostic, and I like to do the acrostic in a different color, with the word in a different color, I mean. So if I'm practicing for something, I'm preparing, right? If you're practicing for an event or practicing to get better, you're preparing to get better. You're preparing for that performance, I mean. Okay? You might practice for a race, maybe on the playground, or if you're on track or things like that. Definitely we need to practice for a race. And sports aren't the only thing you're going to practice, right? You can practice art. Some of you learn with Ms. Urs, practicing a specific skill to get better at it. If you are thinking of sports in terms of our book, think of catching. He practices catching and throwing, right? In terms of school, you think about practice, you study. Practice your reading, you study your reading, math facts, things like that. That's a form of practicing because you're doing it often to get better at it. You could practice building something, like with different blocks, with something out of sand. The more you do it, if you want to get better, your structure gets better, right? You can practice in science, right? Think of the experiments that we do. Think about how often you do those sort of STEM experiments with your projects. You have to do them over and over again, different trials to get better. And we've said it a million times, you practice to get better. So that's what we're going to have for our eat, get better. All right, our next vocabulary word is hurried. And we are going to use an analogy trigger for that, so like our bridge map. And we're going to say hurried is too quick, as slow is to not fast. So hurried means the same as quick, so it means moving fast, just like slow means the same as not fast. That was our analogy. All right, so the next word we're going to talk about is position, and we're going to use our story as the inspiration for this, and we're going to draw a baseball field, baseball diamond, and you're going to draw the bases, and we're going to write the positions. So there's first base, second base, third base, and home plate. So those are different positions. And of course there's outfields and things as well. But for this case, we're just going to do the bases, the infield. All right, so our next vocabulary word, so that was kind of a sketch. All right, so our next vocabulary word is roared, and we're going to use the equation trigger for this. And we're going to say, remember with the equation things, you're adding things together that would equal the vocabulary word. So for example, you could say, if I cheer loud, I could be roaring. So roared If you have a crowd that's loud, they definitely roared. And then yelling. Fans that are yelling are roared. Right, so remember with these you can always add more or use different ones if you'd like, as long as they make sense to the trigger. Okay? Alright, so moving on to the back now. We're going to talk about our other vocabulary words. So, we're going to start with extra. We're going to do examples and non-examples. We're going to think about things you would want extra of and things you would not want extra of. So we're doing examples, I'm just going to abbreviate it as EX, and non-examples. So let's think of things you would want extra of or have extra of. You maybe would want extra toys, maybe extra dinner. That's really good. Extra crayons, because they're always breaking. Things like that. What are some things you wouldn't want extra of? Well, you wouldn't want extra chores, probably. Probably wouldn't want extra teeth. There's already enough going on there. You wouldn't want an extra nose, probably. One is enough, right? So these are non-examples of things you would want extra of, and examples of things you would want extra of. All right, for curb, we're going to use a sketch. You're just going to draw a street. You're going to draw the curb alongside it. So that's the edge of the road. And you're going to put that's what it is, the edge of the road. Curb. All right, good job. Almost done. Stay with me. For cheered, we're going to use a sketch as well. And we're going to draw a cheerleader. You can draw a boy cheerleader, a girl cheerleader, doesn't matter. We're going to draw a cheerleader with her pom-poms, their pom-poms, right? Pom-poms in their hand. That. And do a little ponytail. Ooh, not always an artist with this. And we're going to have them have a speech bubble that says, "Go, team, go." All right, she's cheering on her team. That's your sketch for that one. All right, the last thing we're going to do is the word final, which is appropriate because means last, right? And we're going to use an analogy trigger with this as well. And we're going to say final is end the same way start is begin. Okay? All right, I know it went pretty quickly, but remember you can always pause the videos and do that, right? So, those are your vocabulary words for this book. So we have final, cheered, curb, extra, practice, hurried, position, roared. And that's what we'll be working with as we read Luke Goes to Bat this week. Have a great day, friends.